Hello, John from Peter Tyson, jumping into another stratosphere with this video. It just shows how diverse the world of hi-fi is and the range of stuff that we carry here at Peter Tyson. The Linn Klimax 800 mono power amplifier is not for everyone, and it's very special. And fair warning, this gets a little bit more techie than usual, but let's just nerd up and crack on. If you're watching this, you likely clicked on it because you are familiar with Linn. If not, that's okay. Thanks for joining me anyway. Linn is a Scottish company established in 1973 with a firm belief that source is key. You can have the finest loudspeakers in the world, but if what is getting fed into them is subpar, then what's the point? All the potential of that music recording has gone to waste. The more precise and better engineered the source equipment and amplification is, the more potential you unlock from the loudspeaker and the closer you get as a listener to the original recording of the music. It all makes sense. Even relatively modest loudspeakers can sound drastically better with improved source equipment. Linn's most recognised product was their first ever, and where it all started, the beautiful Linn Sondek LP12 turntable. It's still being adapted and sold today. There are few companies, if any, with quite an obsessional pursuit for perfect audio as Linn. Now this is some very serious top-end hi-fi stuff. The advancements in technology here will filter down into smaller, more affordable units and in turn lead to the next advancement in that pursuit for perfect audio. When you hear a system and you spot something in a very familiar song that you've never heard before and you get that lovely feeling, that is what Linn is chasing, so that you hear that with their system and it makes you want to listen to your entire collection all over again. Enough of that though, we are here for the new Klimax Solo 800 mono power amplifier. Mono, meaning you'll need at least a pair of these for a stereo setup. Linn claim it's a superior performance amplifier that can drive any speaker optimally under any conditions. Bold words. Usually with hi-fi, high-end or otherwise, system matching is often talked about. The process of finding an amplifier that suits your preferred set of speakers and that sound right to you. In Linn's eyes, these are just two approximations that when put together kind of work right for you. Or, in their words, two wrongs can never make a right. By making a precision amplifier with such low distortion, high quality components and build quality, and a relentless focus on accuracy and consistency, then the guesswork is taken away. The Klimax 800 can be used to drive any speaker regardless of size or load. The Linn Klimax 800 is a Class A/B amplifier, the most common type of amplifier you can buy today. Not as wasteful in terms of heat as a Class A, but not as distorted as a Class B, and none of the problems of a Class D. It's like the Goldilocks of amplifier technology. This brings us to one of the big features of the Linn Klimax. It's the adaptive bias control. A Class A/B amplifier requires an optimal bias current. I will leave a link in the description to a document that explains this in really nice detail, much better than I can on a short video. So if you want to understand this subject more, because it is quite in depth, just go down to the description and have a look at that link. What I can tell you is that a regular Class A/B amplifier has an optimal bias current. This is set once in the factory when it's built. The Linn, however, is very different with its adaptive bias control. It can measure and change this bias current depending on a huge number of factors. In real time, it's taking into account temperature, volume, speaker load, and even component tolerances, and it's always performing at its peak and keeping any distortion to an absolute minimum. And it will do this throughout the entire lifetime of the amplifier, giving it better longevity, and no other amplifier can do it quite like the Linn. Something Linn is very proud of is their Utopik power supply. The one in the Klimax 800 is on its 3rd generation and the most refined to date. Traditionally, monoblock amplifiers use linear power supplies. These can be bulky, quite inefficient, and more importantly, add noise into the output signal. Linn use switch mode power supplies. They're more efficient, better isolated, and more importantly, quieter. Any noise they do produce is well out of the range of human hearing. They are also incredibly consistent, keeping the output in check regardless of fluctuations in the input voltage or the temperature. Talking about temperature, its very clever build means that the Klimax 800 can purely use passive cooling. Obviously, you don't want a fan in there adding noise to the system. Huge heat sinks and natural convection keep everything running cool and efficient, and because it runs cool, the components inside have an easier life too, making them perform better for longer. Around the back, in terms of connections, there is obviously mains power. There's balanced XLR or unbalanced RCA phono, depending on your preferred preamplifier's output. There are matching outputs should you have bi or tri-wired speakers and want to link additional Klimax 800s on each channel. There's a 12 volt trigger in and output so that power amplifier turns on and off with your preamplifier. One set of mono speaker output terminals with banana sockets, and there's also a switch to change the brightness of the Linn roundel on the front. I've tried Sonus Faber and Kudos and Bowers and Wilkins. Currently I've just been listening to the Kudos Titan 808, and the source I've been using none other than the magical Klimax DSM from Linn, set up with the exact and the room optimization. And first of all, I've got to say how lucky and privileged I am to get to sit here and listen to dream audio systems like this. At the end of the day, sound is subjective, and what I like you may not necessarily like. You may not like this super clean, pure sound. You may like a little bit of coloration from the room or the speakers or whatever it may be. At the end of the day, if you're listening to your music and enjoying it, and not listening to your system and picking holes, then you have a good system and the right system for you. But like I said, if you do get a chance to just experience something like this, I urge you to do so because it really is wonderful. If you want to experience the Linn system and you want to come here to Carlisle, you can of course say hello to me, but it's more likely you will speak to Nigel, our Linn expert. You can of course also go to our Newcastle store on one of the numbers here if you want to arrange a demonstration. Any questions, thoughts, comments, leave them down below as usual. There will be links to all products when available in the comments also. Until then, you'll see me in the next video. Take care.